With me tonight in New York is Lisa Bloom. She's an anchor for the Legal Network in session. Also in New York, Cooper Lawrence, psychology expert and syndicated radio host and author of this spectacular brand new book, The Cult of Celebrity. Cooper, you're a psychology expert. I need your expertise on this. Should we be surprised if these two are really back together, or is this something that is sort of common?
Well, it's common. Actually, statistically, we know that women go back to their batterers an average of 5 times before they finally leave or something tragic happens. So this does not bode well for her in any way, shape, or form that she went back to him.
If she was, in fact, battered by him, which, nobody has actually confirmed at this point. But let me ask you this, Cooper, because the stakes are obviously very high here in terms of their careers, in terms of the messages being sent. They both have so many young fans, so what kind of a message does it send to the young fans? And I'm talking about both men and women, Cooper.
Well, we know that 1 in 3 high school students have been in an abusive relationship or are going to be in an abusive relationship, and those are the fans of Rihanna. So it sends the message to them that that's okay, you could go back to an abuser if indeed that's what happened here. But it sends the message that it's perfectly okay and you'll work it out. But that's not the case. You don't work it out. You have to get away from that person. So it does not send a very good message.
Cooper, you, like us, have been following this since day one. You've been talking about it on your radio show. You've been talking to fans of Rihanna. Do you see that they may abandon her because of her decision to be with Chris?
A lot of my callers have been saying that they feel compassion, like Lisa was saying, but also because they've been through the experience. But remember, she's only 21 years old. So my audience, who are a little bit older, are calling and trying to give her advice by saying, this is not going to work. You've got to walk away from this guy now and find yourself and your self-esteem, because this is not just her. This is all of her fans. She's a role model. That's a big responsibility.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about that, Cooper, for a moment. As upset with Rihanna as her fans may be, if she does get back with Chris, if this all does prove to be true and they're hanging out in the sun down at Diddy's home working things out, is that an unfair burden to place on her if people are so outraged and upset by this?
It's only an unfair burden right now because she's going through something obviously traumatic and emotional. Even though we see her hanging out in the sun having a good time, inside you know that she's crumbling. You know that she's having a hard time. So right now it's too much of a burden, but ultimately it's not. Ultimately, this is a great platform for her, both for herself to be able to stand up against somebody like this if indeed this happened, and to send the message to other men and other kids out there that they should not put up with this.
Yeah, what an opportunity to make a huge statement here.
Absolutely.
Cooper Lawrence,
Right.
Lisa Bloom, thank you both.
Thanks.
And again,
Thank you.
Chris Brown has not yet been formally charged in this case. We have to be clear about that. He is scheduled to be in court later this week.